Big Slick here, and today's project is to upgrade the firmware on an Olympus Camedia C-5050 digital camera. This process has to be done manually due to the age of the camera. There is no automatic software firmware update that you can do. So the first step is to connect the camera with a memory card in it to your computer. In this case, I have it connected to a Windows 10 64-bit virtual machine. So once it's connected, you can pull up the file manager and see which drive is the memory card for the camera. In this case, it's drive E, and the DSIM here, right here, tells you that this is the Olympus digital camera. So what you will do then is fire up your web browser and go to this page at the Internet Archive that has the latest version of the C-5050 firmware. You will go to the zip download, click the link, download the zip file. Once the zip file is downloaded, you will move the file from the download location to the camera's root directory of the memory card. So we'll open the folder where it's at, we'll go over to the drive, paste it into the root directory. You will now use 7-zip to extract the file here, which will retain the proper directory structure that you need. Now delete the zip file that you downloaded, and you should now have a DSIM folder and a firmware folder in the root directory of the camera's memory card. If you double click the firmware, you will see the firmware file is there already. So at this point, you can close out the open windows on your desktop. You don't need them now. So we'll close these out. And now what you can do is unplug the USB cable from the camera, turn off the camera. Now set the mode dial to playback setting, which is the green play setting right here. You set it into the playback mode, and everything will now be done on the camera itself. So when you flick the camera on, it will now ask you if you want to upgrade the firmware. You will hit OK to click yes, and the firmware update will continue. This typically takes 1.5 to 2 minutes. When the process is done, the camera will display the new firmware version that's installed. And the new firmware has been installed. So now what you can do is turn off the camera, put the camera in program mode, turn on the camera and see that the camera is working properly. So now you see that the camera is working properly. Take a sample photo of anything, doesn't matter. Okay, I took a photo of a pair of scissors. Now what we're going to do is connect the camera to the computer again. Pull up your File Explorer, go to the root drive of the camera's memory card, right-click on Firmware, hit Delete because that folder is no longer needed. go into the DSIM folder, go into the subfolder for Olympus, find the sample photo you just took, right click on it, choose Properties, choose Details, and under the program name you will see the -83, which is the latest version of firmware that I know to exist for this Olympus 5050 camera. Once you see that, you know that the firmware has been totally installed correctly and is working properly, and that's it. You have completed the task.